Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Reads 1984 magazine, issue number 3. This is the September 1978 issue. Great painted cover. Who did this cover? Let's look and see. This is a really nice copy. Um, if you've seen the other videos I've done, I'm reading through these 1984/1994 magazines. I bought a complete set of these on eBay. Somebody was selling all of them, and I got them all. And I've started reading through them at the suggestion of one of my viewers. I believe it was Mark Shalusky, 6680, asked if I would read through these. I became a fan of magazines, these comic magazines, a couple of years ago. Marvel did their Epic magazine back in the early 80s. It would have been right around the same time 1984 came out, I guess. And I'm a big John Byrne fan, and John Byrne had a story in Marvel's Epic magazine, the Last Galactic story, the Last Galactus story, and that got me to pick up those magazines. I'd always been kind of interested in them, but I never delved into them much and found out much about these magazines. But first, I picked up 1984, or let me start again. First, I picked up Marvel Epic. I picked up the whole run of that magazine run. Really enjoyed them. Then Eclipse Comics put out a magazine called Eclipse Monthly, maybe it was called. And I picked up most of them. And then, assorted creepy magazines, eerie magazines here and there. 1984, though, was one that always kind of intrigued me. I remembered it from when I was a kid. Never read it. Didn't know really anything about it other than it basically it looked like Marvel's Epic magazine. And I guess it's kind of similar. It's published by Warren. This is a Warren magazine. Uh, Let me get back to the task at hand here. We got to find the cover. Patrick Woodruff. I do not recognize his name, but it's an excellent cover painting. Does not happen. None of this happens in here, but great cover nonetheless. And all the copies that I got of 1984/1994 in this eBay lot were all in great shape, very good condition, and happy to add them to my collection. This magazine I've discovered since beginning to read them is very adult, very sexual, titillating kind of stories. A lot of politics, especially in this issue. It gets really political. And the editor is also the main writer, William Dubay. He writes at least 75% of the stories in here. Here's all the stories in here. This would be a cool Richard Corbin book to have right here. Cover to cover Corbin. The Odd Comic World of Richard Corbin. That would be pretty neat. I'd like to have that. I think there's a Dark Horse series of hardcovers that have been coming out that collect all of the Richard Corbin work from the early 70s onward, I think. I'd like to get my hands on those. Those would be cool to have. But I'm sure that's kind of a pricey endeavor. We'll see if I get there or not. They got a letters page finally for this one. Some people love the stories. Some people hate the stories, of course. It's usually the way it goes in the letters page. The first story, Squeezins. This is a political story. This one doesn't have any of the sexual titillation in it that most of the other stories have, but it's an interesting look at why world wars happen, especially back in 1978 when this was going on. The Cold War was on, and it was basically the U.S. versus the USSR, Russia, and we have two psychic like hillbillies, an American psychic hillbilly and a Russian psychic hillbilly, and they speak to each other psychically from around the world, and they get into fights, basically arguments, and their arguments cause global conflict. And it's just basically a story about one of their two drunken encounters. Like they both make their own moonshine and get drunk and argue with each other psychically from around the world, cause fights, cause global catastrophes and wars. And a brand new president of the United States being informed that this is the way things have been since World War II, and there's no stopping it because they're psychic, and you can't assassinate them because they know when the assassin's coming, so they can't assassinate them or whatever. It's just a fun story with some great artwork. This is Bill Dubay with art by, who was this? Jose Ortiz. Fun story, imaginative story. A lot of reading, but it's, deep reading. We've got, after that, we've got so this second story, Whatever Happened to Idi Amin, also by Bill Dubay, artwork by the great Esteban Maroto. This one has everything that 1984 does well. Sexual titillation, transgressive storytelling, I guess, political storytelling. This is an interesting one about a department of the U.S., an agency called DDT, Department of Dirty Tricks, where the FBI and the CIA fail. The DDT comes in to shepherd along world events in a way that works out for the U.S. In this one, Idi Amin is turned into a woman, and the end of the world, World War III, breaks out because of this, and it's the end of the world. I can't go into it too much more than that because it's pretty adult in nature. Third story, In the Beginning, again, Bill Dubay and another great artist, Alex Nino. Alex Nino is so cool. I love his artwork. This one is about time travel. Scientists sending a team of explorers back to the beginning of time when life first sprouted in the universe. And the scientists believe that when the time travelers arrive back at this point in time, they're going to see the very first organism and see how it was born. Like, did God show up and just insert this one living organism into our universe, and that's what started life? But they get back there and they find that that's not the case. This huge life form pops into existence, basically, and the scientists were wrong, and the time travelers are destroyed by this monstrous. Look at this great artwork by Alex Nino. The explorers are destroyed by this giant life form, and the joke is we find out some huge alien was just taking a dump in the universe, and that's what created life. Our life, anyway, the life that Earth and humanity came from. Kind of funny. Mutant World, Richard Corbin's story. This is a good one. Basically, our hero from Mutant World, Demento, he gets tricked. He has a little bit of food, and these other two mutant bums decide they're going to trick him because they know he's a pushover. They trick Demento into giving them his food and saying that they know where food is. He just has to go get it. The one's injured, so he'd go get it himself, but he can't because he's injured. So he tricks Demento into giving him his food and sends him on a fool's errand down into the sewers, where he's quickly attacked by hungry mutant rats. He has to fight them off and climb back up out of the sewer. Goes back to where he left his so-called friends. They've split, of course, and he feels dumb. He's been tricked again. He falls asleep. This beautiful woman rides by in a horse and cart. He wakes up thinking he dreamed about her, but then he sees her horse and buggy tracks, follows them, And there's the horse and buggy are dead, but there's the girl. She's tied up. She's calling to him, I have something for you. He's real happy. He's going to go see her, but she's tricking him. It's an ambush, and that's the cliffhanger. Next issue, there's going to be an all-new 16-page full-color Corbin classic. So issue number 4 of 1984 magazine should have a new Demento adventure, 16 pages worth. That's going to be awesome. Bring Me the Head of Omar Barsidian, another Bill Dubay story, this time with Jim Janes and Rudy Nebra's art. This is really, really good artwork again. And this is just one of those sexually titillating science fiction adventures. This Sally Star Slammer, she's like a bounty hunter. She's going to get a person that's escaped from their world orgiasty and bring him home. And he doesn't want to go back. He's an alien. He doesn't want to go back. He thinks that everybody at orgiasty is what does he call them? Degenerates. And well, it's because orgiasty is just a world of beautiful people that all they do is have the name of the city all the time. Here's one again by Nebat. Nebo. I don't know how you say that. Again, he had a story in the previous issue of 1984, or maybe the first issue. I'm not sure now. But this is an interesting story, The Strange Adventure of Dr. Jekyll. This mad scientist creates a potion, drinks it, and it turns him into a woman. And he checks himself out. He likes it. He likes what he sees. He gets all dressed up, dolled up, and he goes out clubbing, meets somebody, has a one-night stand, and he can't, after the one-night stand, wakes up a man, and of course, his romantic partner doesn't like that, smashes him in the face. He goes home, tries to remake his potion so he can turn back into a woman. It doesn't work. He goes to the doctor. He's pregnant. Okay, here we go. Bill Dubay again, this time with Alfredo Alcala, Scourge of All Disney Space. This is like a far-flung future ruled by corporations, conglomerate corporations. Women are kept in like farms. I guess it'd be kind of like The Handmaid's Tale kind of thing. They're used, as breeding vessels, and these are the Mother's Liberation pirates, basically, and they're attacking this Disney pleasure cruiser out in Disney space, and they're taking hostages, and they find the one man that still has all of his male organs. I guess in this future, after a war, that portion of the male anatomy disappeared, but they happen to find the one, and these band of Mother's Liberation pirates, now that they've got the greatest treasure of all, they've got a man with all of his functioning parts, and they sail off happy. This one was a pretty interesting one. A lot of these stories you can see parallels to like today's headlines, I think. This one especially. The author, Alabaster Red Zone, that's got to be a pen name, I'm sure. And Abel Laxamana is the artist. I don't recognize that name either. But I'm not sure. Does anybody know who Alabaster Red Zone might be? I wonder if it's Bill Dubay again. I don't know. But anyway, this one's called Comfu, and it's short for Complete Monumental Military F-Up. But this is about like not psychic spies, but if you ever heard anything about that, like the mind control thing that's kind of been popular to talk about these days, Project Monarch or whatever, Monarch Mind Control. Basically, the government went into a bunch of insane asylums, got the most violent people they could find, and they were going to send them into like Cuba back during the Cuban Missile Crisis and cause mayhem before the U.S. invaded Cuba, and one of these Manchurian candidates basically gets loose and shoots up Savannah, Georgia, and it's like I said, this is very like almost ripped from today's headlines kind of thing. Now here, this story, The Harvest. This is the last story, written by Bill Dubay, art by Jose Ortiz. This one, I think, is one of the ones that Mark Shalusky 6680 warned me about. He left a comment on my last video about 1984 when I read issue number 2. He left a comment about some of the stories in 1984 magazine are they are Civil War instigating levels of racism. Is the way he described some of the stories in 1984 magazine, and I think this is probably the one that really. I think this particular story is the one that if he wasn't talking about this story, this is very indicative of what he was talking about. I'm not going to go into it. This is the future. All like there's a food supply problem. We still go hunting just like we have, for years in the fall and harvest the animals before the wintertime comes, and they suffer because of food. In the wintertime, there's not enough food to eat for all the animals out in the forest. So the autumn harvest is when you go deer hunting and everything like that traditionally. So that's what this story is about. But it's a particular race of people that are hunted. And yeah, I'm not going to show too much of that one. But I mean, it's an interesting story nonetheless. I don't know. It could be racism, but it could go both ways. Just judging by the other stories that I've read in here, I would say that everybody's a target. Everybody's equal opportunity offense here. You could also say that this story is just like the first story in here is about two old white rednecks, one Russian, one American. I mean, you could say that last story is more about picking on dumb white rednecks, which all my life they have been a prime, just like Christians are today. Dumb white rednecks were always the target of ridicule and fodder for many stories, films, books, everything. They were always the bad guy. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But 1984 isn't a magazine for everybody. Let me just say that. Probably the older nerds would probably your mileage may vary. An older nerd would probably get more mileage out of this. At least they could appreciate it as the retro piece of entertainment that it is, product of its time, blah blah blah. I don't have any problem with it. It's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings any. Maybe it will hurt yours though. So if you do find these, be warned. Anyway, that's 1984, issue number 3. This is a cool magazine. The artwork is great. The stories are pretty creative, imaginative. The artwork, I think, though, is my favorite part of them. And the fact that they're about 50 years old now, and they're a cool time capsule of the days when I was a kid growing up, and nostalgia for the entertainment that was coming out back then. I think the older nerds would appreciate this magazine if you haven't read it before. And if you have, well, let me know what you think. And share this video with any other old nerds out there that would dig this kind of thing. I'd appreciate that. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And stick around on this channel. I also am doing a video series where I am reading my Marvel comics in publishing date order. And I'm currently in the year 1977. I think the next video should be about Iron Man. So stick around for that if you would. Subscribe. Give me a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.